before us.
Guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet doth approve. Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate.
Which I see before me, the handle toward my hand, come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Begin to sleep.
There are two lodged together.
One cried, God bless us and amen, the other, as they had seen me with these hangman's hands. Listening to fear, I could not say amen when they did say, God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could not I pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
I had thought to let in some of all. Beauteous and swift, the minions of their race turned wild in nature. They broke their stalls, flung out, contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind. It's no
Man?
And the bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Proper stuff. This is the
Hello. Welcome back to our podcast where we make Shakespeare way less intimidating and war a lot more fun. I'm Aqila, and today we're talking about someone you've definitely heard, William Shakespeare. Don't worry, this isn't gonna be one of those boring school lessons, and we're just here to chatting about his life and the kind of stuff he wrote and why people still care about him after like 400 years. And today, I'm not alone. I've got awesome friends here to help me out. What's up, Nuha?
Hello, I'm so
Fannia.
to be here. Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
And Pudja.
Hi, let's go.
Alright, let's start from the beginning. Nuha, who was this in Shakespeare's life?
So basically, Shakespeare was born in 1564 before, and he was born in this little city called Stratford-upon-Avon. He's basically just a pretty normal dude. His dad was a cloth maker, and his mom came from a pretty good family. He was the third kid of an 8 children, so I guess the house must be pretty chaotic, right?
Imagine being the kid in the house. What about school?
I think he went to this grammar school where he learned about literature, Latin, and language. So I guess this must be the place where he started going into the writing world.
Okay, so the guy grows up and boom, suddenly he's writing plays that are still famous today. Pooja, give us the lowdown of what kind of stuff he wrote.
So Shakespeare's works is divided into three types: tragedies, comedies, and also histories. Tragedies are the deep, dramatic, and like Hamlet, Macbeth, and also Othello's. Lots of heavy stuff such as betrayal, death, guilt, super intense.
And then you've got the comedies like Twelfth Night, A Midsummer Night's Dream.
So basically, his stories play was about a real kings and queen, like Henry IV or Richard III. So it's basically just a big royal drama series.
Nice. And it's just no plays, right? He also wrote poems.
Yes, he writes 154 sonnets, which are test short poems mostly about love, time, and also beauty.
Okay, quick question for all of you. What do you think people still care about him? Like, it's been 400 years.
So I think that's because his stories are still relatable until now. I mean, jealousy, power, and love was the themes that people are still facing up until today, 2025. So yeah, that's in my opinion, yeah. Yeah, and once you get used to the language, it's actually really
Also, his characters feel real, they are flawed, they are emotional, and that's make it really cool.
Love that. Okay, so we're gonna move into the next influence and literature.
so okay. Guys. After we are getting to know about Shakespeare life and works, now let's get to the thing that I personally find the most interesting is its influence on literature. So, just how did this one man shape something that we knew as an English literature? So, what do you think, Aqila?
Oh, that's a good one. I've heard before that he added so many words in English. Is that true or just rumors?
So it's actually true. Shakespeare has enriched the English language with inventing over 1,700 words. Some of the words are still the word that we use up until today. Some words like able, better, and even swagger. I mean, swagger size. That's the word Shakespeare invented.
Wait, what? That's definitely swagger on my captions before. Never knew I was quoting Shakespeare.
He also comes up with phrases like pretty eyes and also welcome cakes. That's wild. I didn't even know that. That's so old. Yeah, exactly. And not just a vocabulary. He also popularized this poetic style called iambic pentameter. I hope I pronounced that right. It's basically a rhythm of 10 syllables per line, like a harp. A lot of English poetry adopted his style because of how natural it sounds in drama and poetry.
So he was like not just writing cool stories, but also shaping how people wrote up.
Exactly. He didn't just play the game. He literally shaped the rules that's around him. Okay, Shakespeare the influencer.
Period. And his influence is so on his own writing, right? I remember reading a lot of famous writers were inspired by him.
Yes, writers like John Keats and Tennessee Williams, they admire Shakespeare's deep understanding of human emotion and his poetic language, his themes, characters, even his way of storytelling. They all become reverence for our future poets and playwrights.
And let's not forget how many times his work have been adapted. Like there are so many movie versions of Romeo and Juliet. Some modern and some classic.
Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? This place is death, considering who thou art. If any of my kinsmen find thee here...
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt, therefore thy kinsmen are no stop to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
I have knights cloaked to hide me from their sight, and but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued wanting of thy love.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek with that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. Gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully.
By yonder blessed moon I vow that tips with silver all the fruit treetops.
Swear not by the moon. The inconstant moon? That monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Although I joy in thee, I've no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning, which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine, before thou didst request it. And yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have. For both are infinite. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good night. nurse. Sweet Montague, be true, stay but a little, I will come again.
I am afeard. Being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
If that thy bent of love be honourable, thy purpose marriage, send word for me tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world. Anon, I come. Romeo.
My dear.
At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
By the hour of 9.
I will not fail.
Right? His stories are like super fun. You can turn them into any kind of art. Music, ballads, drama, opera, literally anything. That's why people keep coming back to his work even after centuries.
Honestly, it's so cool to see how a person from the 15,000 is still inspiring the creators today.
Yeah, so it's not just like old school literature. His influence is still very much alive even until now. So to wrap this segment up, Shakespeare's legacy in literature goes beyond his own case. He changed the English language, influenced writers across generations, and left behind stories that can still be reshaped and retold forever.
Okay, so we've looked at Shakespeare's impact on literature.
William Shakespeare.
Shakespeare!
Shakespeare. Shakespeare.
Shakespeare!
You have not experienced Shakespeare until you have read him in the original Klingon.
This is not Shakespeare.
Oh, I did Shakespeare in the park, Max. I got mugged.
No. Macbeth. We use his words. Bated breath. To be cruel, to be kind. Made of sterner stuff. But what do we really know about the world's greatest playwright?
1564, William Shakespeare was born.
The plague hit Stratford.
A huge number of people are dying. This was the England of Elizabeth.
He's living a few hundred yards from the Globe Theatre.
Such a tragedy, but it burnt down.
To commemorate the 400-year anniversary of Shakespeare's death.
Without this book, 18 of the plays would be lost.
John Nettles traces Shakespeare's legacy.
Shakespeare remains the ultimate inspiration.
But honestly, his influence goes way beyond just books and plays. He's kind of everywhere, right? Pop culture, music, memes, and even everyday conversations.
Totally. I mean, people are quoting Shakespeare without even knowing, right? Like, as I mentioned before, phrases like Rick the Ice and also Wild Goose Chase, I just found out those came from
Engineering.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
8030, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakatomi Plaza. I was originally designed for assassination missions.
She was the oldest living Luther, and now she's dead as a doornail.
Eyeball?
Yeah, all of those and many more. It's crazy how a guy from 16th century basically helped shape modern English. A lot of the expression we take for granted today came from his pen.
And his phrase still felt kinda poetic, but also relatable.
Exactly. His words evolved into everyday language, which makes his legacy come alive. But it's not just the language. His stories have been retold again and again in different forms.
Oh, like those famous film 10 Things I Hate About You? I didn't know it was based on the timing of the show until last year. Yeah, same. And The Lion King is basically Hamlet with rhyme. That still blows my mind.
Yeah, Shakespeare's influence is baked into modern styling, from big budget films to TikTok edits. It's honestly everywhere.
Even in K-dramas, sometimes the trope feels kinda Shakespearean.
Exactly. Love triangles, mistaken identities, dramatic monologues, and he practically wrote the drama book.
And his character, so iconic. like Juliet, Romeo, Hamlet. They are so archetypes.
Oh, Romeo.
Romeo.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Young when I first saw you, I
Romeo. Oh, Romeo.
No.
Right? Like Hamlet's one, evoking of internal conflicts. Those types still show up in books, films, and even in games. So even if people are in the original place, they still experience the things.
Exactly, that's what makes it a legacy. He laid the foundation and everyone else keeps building on it.
I feel like Shakespeare's works are like cultural fossils, but not in a dusty way, of course. More like they're still relevant even until now. Yeah, they evolve. I mean, I've seen some of the modern one that the character are using Instagram or just texting. It's crazy.
That's what makes him timeless. You can put his characters in any setting and the choruses, love, betrayal, power still resonate.
And honestly, it's kind of cool that 400-year-old writers still can go viral.
Yeah, whether it's a TikTok POV, a song lyric, or a meme caption, his works find new ways to like. His cultural legacy isn't just about what he wrote, but how the trading continues to show up in new forms.
Yeah, it's still like he's in the conversation even after centuries later.
And that's the beauty of it. Shakespeare's work moves through generations, reshaping itself. It's been translated into hundreds of languages, adapted across cultures, even Bollywood has Shakespeare's inspired films. His impact is global.
Wow, that makes me want to rewatch Omkara now.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about theater? His plays are still being performed live, online, in schools, everywhere.
And not just in English, I watched a Japanese version of Macbeth Watch. It was so cool. Seriously? Yeah, and the theme still makes sense. That's how universal his work is. Yeah, and that reminds me, I saw once about Romeo and Juliet parody musical, and it was hilarious, but still emotional. How did this happen?
Shakespeare can be serious or silly, modern or traditional. There's no one way to interpret it.
That flexibility is part of why he stays relevant, right?
100%. Directors, writers, even content creators, they all find their own Shakespeare.
It's like how his creativity gave people ways to be more creative.
Totally. And that's why his cultural legacy isn't frozen with time, it keeps growing.
So while how we still keep finding new ways to connect with something written so long ago.
And speaking of things that keep showing up, you know where else keeps popping up?
The place when we first met him in school.
Yeah, next we'll talk about how Shakespeare continues to impact the education.
What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite and laid the love dew sods of true love sight. About the wood go swifter than the wind, and Helena of Athens look thou find. Or fancy sick she is and pale of cheer, with sighs of love which cost the fresh blood tear. By some illusion, see thou bring her here, I'll charm his eyes against she do appear.
I go. Look how I go. Swifter than arrow from the Tartar's bow.
Okay, so guys, we're already in the last segment of this podcast.
We're already talking a lot about Shakespeare's from his background life, his works like sonnets and other literature. And now we come to the point of a big question. How is the impact of Shakespeare and his legacy in the educational field?
So, as we know, Shakespeare still has so many works that still being discussed until right now. For example, when we are in literature class, the lecturer are often taking Shakespeare works as reading material or discussion material, right?
Yeah, I second that. I remember Miss Rina once quoting Shakespeare's work to explain about literary genre.
Even now we're doing a podcast and talk about Shakespeare and for hours, and this also his impact in education of files. That's correct. Before doing this podcast, we did a lot of research to know more about Shakespeare.
Shakespeare works also have an influence in scholarly needs. I think a lot of seniors did publication of journal and articles that talk about Shakespeare's literature.
Exactly. A lot of journals, articles, and books are published annually, analyzing his influence, exploring new interpretation, and engaging with contemporary debates about his works and their relevance. Shakespeare's works, Shakespeare's works are also integral to English literature, with things like Romeo and Juliet studied in school to foster an understanding of literary history and language arts. That's literally just proof on how big his influence are.
It is also fascinating to know how Shakespeare and his work are still relevant until today in modern life.
I know, right? Let's talk more about Shakespeare and have been widely adopted in various medium, from books to films.
Even in songs, I mean, one of his most famous story, Romeo and Juliet, has been adapted in song or mentioned in some songs like Taylor Swift, Love Story. Have you heard of that?
Romeo sent me, I've been feeling so long. Okay, guys, doesn't know. Let's get back to the topic, okay? If you think about it, back then we were still unfamiliar with Western culture. We still knew, right, about Romeo and Juliet. Like, at least I think a lot of people know that they are lovers, even though they don't read or watch any story about it. I don't even remember when was the first time I heard about Romeo and Juliet, because it's literally everywhere in films, songs, and even in advertisement.
Yeah, same here. I mean, Romeo and Juliet is widely popular, even in some people that doesn't know any of English literature.
I want to mention more example in song, guys. So there is also a K-pop girl group that has one of Shakespeare's work as a references for the concept of their album. If you know, one of his work is called Midsummer Night's Dreams, right? Now they changed it for the album title to Midsummer and Nick's Dreams. I think it's really fascinating to note the fact that such an old literature can be references for modern pop culture, even across different countries like Peru.
That's really amazing. Shakespeare's work are so still relevant and often reflect on modern issues like politics and inequality.
Couldn't agree more. There's also a reason why his work are still the talk of the town, especially in educational files. Finally, we're almost at the end of our podcast today. We literally talked for 20 minutes straight about Shakespeare. From his background life, works, his influence in literature, educational field, and also how his works are still relevant even now in modern life. Before closing, guys, let's each of us talk about our favorite parts in today's podcast. Maybe starting for me, it was really amazing to know that Romeo and Juliet is really that popular, because before I didn't even realize anything. How about you guys?
Honestly, my favorite part of this whole Shakespeare episode was realizing how much of his legacy is just everywhere. From the way we talk to the things that shows up, it's wild how his influence fits into our everyday lives. I used to think that Shakespeare was just this old school dude we had to read in class, but turns out he kind of shaped pop culture and language in ways I never really noticed. And that's what makes his legacy so cool. It's not stuck in the past, it's still growing with us.
For me, learning about Shakespeare like this actually made him feel more real. Like, not just some old guy in textbook. I really like hearing about how he used iambic parameter. It's wild how he made poetry flow like music. It's like he made poetry sounds like a rhythm, almost like a song. That's pretty cool. Someone writing 400 years ago.
For me, honestly, my favorite part was realizing how much history and literature are not just stories, but even the rhythm and structure of poetry. I used to think that it was just about love tragedies, but now I get why he's such a big deal.
And finally, that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thanks for hanging out and listening. This might start as just midterm project, but honestly, putting this together means more than just upgrading our cyber campus. So until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to each other, and catch you later.
See you!
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 I'm safe and bring that beat back. Now the sunshine